You're about to watch me read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I think I have pretty in the middle expectations for this book. I don't expect it to blow my mind, but I do expect it to be funny. I expect it to be romantic and summery and swoon worthy. I want to be kicking my feet and giggling reading this book. That's what I hope to get out of this book, and that's what I expect to get out of this book. And it just, look at this. I just think it's so nice. Like, I don't usually like people on a cover, but in this case, like, they don't really have faces, so it's fine. So from my understanding, Just for the Summer follows our two characters. Our main character, every single time she dates somebody, they end up breaking up, and that person ends up finding their soulmate like pretty soon after. So she thinks that she's cursed, like cursed in love. Then there's our other character who is like famous on Reddit for being like a good luck charm, I think, is how I understood it. And she's like, okay, I have a great idea. Or maybe he's like, I have a great idea, but I feel like it's her idea. And they end up fake dating because the thought process is he's a good luck charm, which means that she'll find her soulmate. And then because of her curse, anytime she dates someone, they find their soulmate. So their idea is they date each other so they can find their soulmates. And so that just sounds like a really fun premise. There's nothing I love more than fake dating, except maybe fake marriage. I love the whole like, oh, this is like, we're pretending, and then at some point they're not pretending anymore. It's just my favorite. I love it so much. It's ridiculous how much I love it. And I think it all came from To All the Boys I Loved Before. That was like my first introduction to fake dating. And I've just been hooked ever since. I love fake dating so much. It's one of my favorite tropes of all time. So yeah, let's crack this book right open. Oh, but wait, we know the drill. This is a dust cover, and I never read with these on because I hate them very, very much. So let's see. This is a book of the month book though, so it probably just has like the little stamp at the bottom, but we'll see what color the book is. Oh, it's yellow. What? Okay, I didn't expect that. I thought it was gonna be like red. Yeah, so this is one of the April picks for the book of the month. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of this yellow or this blue. I don't know, it doesn't feel like it matches the vibe of like this cover. I feel like it should have been red, maybe like red and orange, but I digress. It's all right. Let's read this book for real. More than 100 pages into Just for the Summer, and here are my thoughts so far. The concept of this book is pretty interesting. It's a lot more serious than I expected, but it's still like light and fluffy at the same time because our two main characters both have personal issues going on. Our main character, Emma, she has a really tough and challenging relationship with her mom. So her mom had her when she was 18, and she's very neglectful of her daughter, but Emma still wants her in her life. And so there's a lot of challenges that come with that because her mom will just like peace out for like 3 months, impossible to reach her, impossible to contact her, anything like that. And then she'll like show up, make a mess of things, and then leave. And so she showed up to where Emma and her best friend are staying because they're traveling nurses. And she's causing a bit of trouble because she is kind of dating their boss of where they are, and their boss is known to be like a really mean guy. So they know that when she makes a mess of things, that's gonna cause a lot of problem for them. But Emma's very like optimistic, and she's like, no, this time will be different. Like, she won't do that. Like, she's here. But the whole visit, she's really just been ignoring her daughter. But it's like really sad to read about because Emma just really wants the love and the attention that she deserves. And her mom, her entire life, has just been ignoring her and then gives her a bit of like love and attention to keep her going, kind of like love bombing, to be honest, and then just like pieces out again. So poor Emma's struggling with this. And then our other main character, Justin, he has some personal issues going on. He's about to have custody of his 3 siblings because, I don't want to spoil it, but there's something happening with his mom, and his dad's no longer around. He passed away years ago. And so Justin is basically going to be kind of like a foster dad in a way, to take care of his siblings who are a variety of ages. Like one of them's really young, one of them's a teenager, one of them's like a middle-aged teenager. That's like a weird sentence, but you know what I mean. And yeah, so he has this stuff kind of going on. And so our two characters, they meet because he makes a post on Reddit. And this is where I didn't understand it, because I thought he was a good luck charm, but that's actually not true. The good luck charm, it means he's not a good luck charm. So he has the exact same kind of issue that Emma does, where anybody he dates immediately finds their soulmate like after they break up. And so he made a post about that, and also like a post about his dog that he's named after his best friend because his best friend moved out, and like, yeah, it was like a whole thing. But that's how they meet. They meet because of Reddit. And because she's a traveling nurse, guess where she can go? To Minnesota. And so they are fake dated because I don't think they really believe in this curse, but they're like, why not? Let's have some fun together kind of thing. And so they've created this whole like formula, like we'll go on 4 dates, we'll have 1 kiss, then we'll break up, and then the curse will be broken. And it's really just like, it's really lighthearted, and they're both not really taking the curse then too seriously. But as you can imagine with fake dating stories, at some point it's gonna start to feel real for them, and then what's gonna happen? So yeah, I really do enjoy their interactions. I would say the writing of this book is a little bit clunky in my opinion, a little bit hard to get into, but like once you kind of get into it, it's a little bit easier. It's not like the strongest writing you'll ever read, but I mean, it's pretty chill. It makes the story progress fine, which is good. But it's not like the strongest writing. Like it's not like Emily Henry or like Brandon Sanderson or any of those top writers, but it is still like an enjoyable read. And I like the banter. I think that this author can really write banter, which I really, really like. And just the way that the characters play off of each other, the way they're interacting, the way that they're slowly starting to fall for each other while also like thinking that they both don't have feelings for each other, and they're just like fake dating to break this curse then and just have a little bit of fun before Emma's term is up. So because she's a traveling nurse, she's only here for 6 weeks, and then she's gonna travel somewhere else, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's pretty fun. So I'm gonna continue to read just for the summer, and I will update you around the halfway point. So I will see you in my next update. Now definitely more than halfway through just for the summer, and I've been enjoying this book a lot. I think that it's pretty funny. It has its serious moments. It has some pretty like challenging situations for characters within the story, and I think that adds a little bit more to it, because I expected this book to be pure funny, pure giggles, pure vibes, but similarly, not to the same degree of course, but to How to End a Love Story, I expected the same. And then it became this really like complex, challenging, really amazing, incredible story. And this is similar in that kind of same vein, because I expected it to be like just pure funny. But these characters, they have really difficult situations. They have really difficult family situations. Like so much is happening to them. And I think that it's really interesting to follow along these characters, especially our main character, Emma, who doesn't realize the impact that her neglectful mom had on her when it comes to relationships. And so she's constantly grappling with this emotion, with the desire to flee, but then she's fighting against it because she also really likes Justin. And there's like, it's pretty good. I just got to the point in the book where she's learning something about her mom that her mom never wanted her to know. And so I'm excited to see like where that's gonna go, and especially because it's like towards the end. So this is either gonna make or break the story for me, because it seems like it was something that was kind of mentioned early on in the book, but it wasn't really tackled until just now. So we'll find out, and I really hope that Emma and Justin have a happy ending together. So I will see you when I finish the book. I just finished Abby Jimenez's book Just for the Summer, and I actually liked it a lot more than I expected I would. At the beginning of this book, I was like, the writing's a little bit like mid, like all that. But I think as the story progressed, the writing actually got better as we kind of followed it along. It had good sprinkles of humor, and it had a really, really good perspective on like mental health and how people affect one another. In this case, the main character's mom, how the main character's mom's actions had affected the daughter. And there's a lot of like contrast and foil, and there's also a lot of like a bit of foreshadowing, a lot of symbolism. There's a lot that's like hidden in this book that when I was reading it, I didn't really notice it until like I sat back and I just thought about the book as a whole. And I was like, you know what, like there's a lot that went into this book, and I think that that's really cool because it's not just like your funny little rom-com, it's a rom-com with real human challenges throughout. I think what was really, really great and unique about this book is the character Emma and how she lives with this attachment avoidance style. And I've definitely met people who have that, where it's like everything seems to be really going really well, and then suddenly it's just like boom, they ghost you, they cut you off, like they get too scared to settle or get involved in that way. And Emma's character is like that. She's a product of her upbringing, and so she's constantly on the move. She's traveling nurse, she can't stay settled. She's very very anxious about that whole thing. So when she's slowly falling for Justin, you can see her trying to escape, but also like wondering, why is she doing that? Like she likes him, she wants to be with him, but then she's also really scared. And so she's a really complex character, which I think is really great to follow along. And I really love the way Emma doesn't realize that she's dealing with these mental health issues. And so when she's starting to feel a bit dissociated, she calls it feeling small, and because she's like pushing people away and she wants to be secluded and on her own and by herself and doesn't want to really feel anything. And so I think her using her own terminology is really realistic because she doesn't know like what's happening to her. She just knows like, I feel small, I'm going to be pushing everybody I know away from me, and I'm just gonna like not really exist. And I thought that that was a really good representation of that type of situation and that kind of experience that somebody goes through. And I know that in this book, the author had worked with like a doctor who knows this stuff, and you can definitely see it in that writing. I think one of my favorite things about this book was the representation of the unicorn and childhood innocence, because our main character, she had this childhood stuffy named Stuffy. And it was this unicorn, and she absolutely loved it, and it's kind of like all battered and beaten up now at this point, and it represents like the main character's innocence and before, like when she had attachments to things, and now like as an adult she doesn't have attachment to anything. Like she doesn't own anything, she lives out of a suitcase pretty much. But this Stuffy is something that she still cares about because it was way earlier in her life before her mom neglected her. So this was a really important part. And what I thought was really cool is that Justin ends up using this unicorn floaty. Now this is like, just bear with me here, it sounds really funny, very strange to explain, but he uses this unicorn floaty and literally paddles across the water because this island that she's on is representing her smallness. The island, nobody can get around there unless they're boated there and back. And so when she's sick in one of the scenes, she's alone there, she's stuck there, she's small in her own island of isolation, which is what she pretty much calls it in general. Like this is like a actual island. And he uses this unicorn Stuffy, that innocence, again, that innocent symbolism, goes on the unicorn and pushes literally through all of the water. It takes him like over an hour to actually get to that island. But I thought that was a really clever scene because there's so much that's happening in there. But if you look at it like as an outsider, you're like, oh, that's sort of like a pretty fun scene. Like he gets on a unicorn floaty and he goes over to like see her and make sure she's okay because she's sick and she's not answering her phone and all this. But there's actually so much more depth to it. And so I think that's really great. So I think I do take back what I said when I was first reading the book about it not being the best written. Like I did find the beginning wasn't the best written, but I think the majority of the book was actually really well done. So I do take back my further comment because as I read, there's more to it than what you see on the surface level, and it did get much better as I continued reading. I think it was really just like that beginning, like first 100 pages was a little bit clunky, but the rest of it was like really good. It was really seamless and it was really well thought out. I would definitely say that this book, there are trigger warnings on the first page. So if you have any issues with that kind of stuff, I don't think you should read it if you're not in the kind of like mindset to read it. But if something you're working on is like exposure to those triggers, then this book I think is good for that, because it's not too much. It's subtle and it's really more towards like the end when some of that other stuff kind of happens. But I think it's a very safe read for anyone who's working on themselves in exposure kind of related aspects. So yeah, I thought that this was a good story. So I will be awarding just for the summer a total of 4 stars. I like this book. I think it was good. I think it was fun. I don't think it was like my favorite book of all time, but I think that it was still a good one. I think that I really loved the messages. I really admire the symbolism in the book. I enjoy the chemistry and the communication between our two characters, and following a character who doesn't realize that she deserves things, and then watching her slowly and then fight and then slowly go into it and realize, like, you know, you deserve stuff. You're a good human being. So yeah, that was a fun book. So the next book that I'll be reading is Ali Hazelwood's Check and Mate. And so this is, I believe it's actually a young adult book, so I don't think it will be too spicy, but honestly, the reason I bought this, one, I want to read more Ali Hazelwood, but two, my boyfriend is super into chess. Like, he really loves it. And he and I had kind of joked about, actually we saw this cover and we kind of joked about it. I'm like, oh, it's a book for you. And he was like, because he doesn't really like he doesn't read romance books. And so I bought it because I thought it was funny. And it actually sounds really fun. So yeah, that's what I'll be reading next. It's like a chess romance rivals to lovers kind of story, and it's Ali Hazelwood, who made me laugh so hard when I was reading her story Bride. So if you're interested in watching me read Check and Mate, Brandon Sanderson, Emily Henry, Elsie Silver, all of these great people who are amazing authors, definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you enjoyed this video and if you have any summer recommendations, definitely comment them down below and hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!